Welcome and what is up there everybody, this is Casper with Casper Crypto, and in today's video I've got some huge Dogecoin news for you guys, and this stuff is literally going to move the markets, and I swear we're starting to head towards a whole crypto global economy where we're going to be using crypto eventually. I'm not saying it's going to be this year, next year, but in the next few years we're going to be using crypto as our main form of payment, and I'm betting big on this, and I'm going to be showing you guys the news that is supporting this, as well as how that's going to affect the Bitcoin and Dogecoin prices, especially the Dogecoin prices, where we're going to be doing some technical analysis, showing you guys my personal price predictions of where I think Dogecoin could be heading in the next few hours and in the next few days on the charts. So before we get into the video, I'd really appreciate you guys could smash that like button down below and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys have not yet. I'd really appreciate it a ton. Alright, so Dogecoin is currently sitting at about 31 cents, 31.3 cents to be exact. And on the day, it's down about 4.2%, which isn't too hot, but it's also not terrible. We're not seeing like 20-30% crashes in a day, which shows that Dogecoin still has pretty strong stability. And ever since we had that huge drop since June 7th, June 8th, where Dogecoin dropped below 30 cents per Doge, we've just tried to recover the next day after, but we started heading back downwards right after that. Where we went from below sub 30 cents to about 35 cents in just about a day, and then we started heading back down to where we are now with about 31 cents per Dogecoin. So yeah, that's currently where the price of Dogecoin is sitting at. I think it's just consolidating. It's sitting at a consolidation level. However, we are at a key technical point where if we do break below this support right here, which is the neckline for the head and shoulders pattern, we could be seeing a lot of red, and I'll be showing you guys that in the Dogecoin price prediction part of the video, which will be slightly later on, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But let's get right into the news. So El Salvador officially made Bitcoin legal tender, but this is not the news, because we already knew this was coming, right? There are some other problems that are occurring with this. I just want to show you that it's pretty interesting. If you type in El Salvador official currency, it tells you that they made Bitcoin legal tender after passing a law about 2 days ago. But when you look at currencies, they have Bitcoin and United States dollar already listed on Google. And guess which one's first? Not the United States dollar. Nuh-uh. It's Bitcoin. They put Bitcoin first, which I found pretty interesting that they decided to put it up front. But yeah, that's basically what's going on. But the thing that I'm concerned about, which I think it'll be a minor problem, just a minor road bump along the way, because nothing can ever go perfect, right? So the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, sees legal economic issues with El Salvador's Bitcoin move. So this stuff I'd recommend you pay attention to because it's actually pretty important, and I'm going to go over the most important aspects with you guys right here. So the International Monetary Fund said on Thursday it has economic and legal concerns regarding the move by El Salvador to make Bitcoin a parallel legal tender, further clouding the outlook for an IMF-backed program and widening the spreads on the country's bonds. So basically what they're saying right here is that the IMF is trying to control this a little bit more. They're seeing a little bit of legal and economic problems that could occur with Bitcoin being the one of the official currencies of El Salvador, and they're trying to regulate it and figure all the things out. And that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, if it's the first time being a legal country currency, then obviously it's gonna have some problems and some road bumps along the way, right? But here's some more important stuff that we're gonna see later on in this article, which isn't too long actually, it's just a little bit right here. So El Salvador has become the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. And President, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name because I'll probably butcher it, touting its use for its potential to help Salvadorians living abroad to send remittances back home. So basically the main argument they had was that a lot of El Salvadorians, okay, are living outside the United States, and they're helping their families back in El Salvador by sending money to them like regularly. I don't know how they send money at the moment, but I bet it's not as simple as getting a Bitcoin wallet and sending it straight to El Salvador to their parents or to their family, right? So they're just trying to simplify the process of just sending money from relatives to their family back in El Salvador, and they're thinking that Bitcoin is going to be a very easy and simple way to do so, and especially since like 70% Salvadorians don't have a bank account. This could be a potential new substitute for a bank account for them. Since they don't have bank accounts, I think that it might be even a little bit simpler for them to open up a Bitcoin wallet where they can accept money and send money easily through Bitcoin. Yeah, so here's some of the important information you guys want to take a look at. So, adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender raises a number of macroeconomic, financial, and legal issues that require very careful analysis, said Jerry Rice, an IMF spokesman during the scheduled press briefing. We are following developments closely and will continue our consultations with the authorities. They're basically saying that the future of an IMF deal they see as a key for a Central American country. They have demanded increasingly higher premiums to hold Salvadoran debt. And they go on to say a few things here about like the market, which isn't extremely relevant right here. But we see that Bitcoin headlines in El Salvador as noise that could complicate discussions with the IMF, said Citi's Donato Guarino in a recent note to clients, reducing the bank's already underweight exposure to the country even further. And they're saying how El Salvador is in discussions with the IMF seeking a nearly $1 billion program. And they're saying how crypto is a very marginal story to the Salvadorian investment thesis. And basically how they're just to summarize really quickly, the IMF is trying to regulate this, trying to see what kind of problems could arise from this and prevent them before they happen, with El Salvador making Bitcoin their legal currency. But these are just some super tiny roadblocks that I see happening. The main thing you need to pay attention to is a country actually allows Bitcoin to be their legal tender, right? What do you think is going to happen with other countries? Do you think other countries are going to sit back and watch and be like, oh, that's cool. We're not doing that though. No, other countries around them, like Paraguay, I heard Venezuela might be getting into it as well. A lot of surrounding countries are also looking to get into it now. And I wouldn't be surprised if countries all around the world started taking a look at adopting Bitcoin as legal tender in their country, especially those with very poor monetary systems, like the Venezuelan dollar is extremely inflated, things like that, where Bitcoin could actually be a very good substitute for the dollar there. So those are the news, and let's get into the analysis to take a look at where we're standing with Dogecoin right now. So if we take a look, if we scroll out, we still have this huge, overwhelming looking head and shoulders pattern that is forming. It could come into play, could not come into play. The main point that we're currently sitting at right now is this neckline right here, which is the support. Oops, that was right here, which is the neckline. And if we break below this, we saw a lot of breaks below, but we didn't hold below. We had a lot of buying pressure come in right when it fell below. And we had that happen multiple times, as you can see. But as long as we stay above this neckline, I think we're good. And the next point we would bounce up to is about 44 cents, which is the next area of resistance. However, if we were to break below, it could mean some pretty bad news. What we'd probably see is a break below, a retest on the resistance, and then we'd head downwards to who knows how low. I'm estimating that worst case scenario about 10 cents, best case scenario to about 21 cents. So between 10 and 21 cents would be the area that Dogecoin could be sitting at for the next decent amount of time. But as long as we stay above this neckline, we're good. And that's just one thing that we want to pay attention to see if we do break, what kind of positions we want to be taking. If we want to, maybe sell off a little bit because we don't want to get caught up. We want to buy some more at the bottom, things of that sort. But basically what we want to see in the more short term right here, as long as we stay above this line, we're good. And we're actually at a pretty good level right now to be buying as long as we stay above it. Because look at your risk. Like the worst it can do is probably go down to about 31 cents flat, which it's at like 31.5 cents. And the next point that it could potentially hit the resistance of is about 44 cents. So you're risking like half a cent for 13 cents in profit. So I think that right now is not a bad level to be buying some Dogecoin. Not financial advice, of course. These videos are just for educational entertainment purposes only. But the thing I'm a little bit afraid about is Bitcoin having a sort of cycle that it had in 2013, where we could still see a pretty big dump down before we see any major move up. And the move up that we would have after the big dump would be massive, massive. A lot of people would be able to make an extreme amount of money. But yeah, that's what I'm basically looking at right now. Just trying to keep above this neckline is what I'm taking a look at. And then if we can see a move upwards, it would probably be about to the 44 cent area, which would be a good place to take some profits if you were wanting to do so and buy some more on the dip. So that's basically it for today's video. Hope you guys appreciated it. If you did, make sure to smash that like button down below. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.